Hi everyone, Happy New Year, Happy 2024 to everybody. And here's wishing you good health in its truest form. Now that I'm almost going to turn 43, and the fact that I'm making the video is actually, I'll tell you why. Because it's important, and why is it in the playlist of my honest journey of spirituality? Because they are so well interconnected, which I'm realizing now. Of course, I have a long way to go, and I feel that I'm just at the start of the journey. But it is so important to share with you how did I get here. And when I say how, I'm not saying that I've arrived, but I've definitely come to a point in my fitness or health journey that I've understood something, and that's what I want to share. If anybody has similar experiences, so let's begin from the top. I was born a healthy child. And when they say healthy, so I'm from India, for anybody who's not from India. In India, basically, and especially North India, if you are slightly plump or chubby, then you're called healthy. Okay, that's kind of a polite way of saying that you are a little big. Okay, my father's a doctor, my mother, of course, is a therapist. So maybe out of concern or whatever it was, I was always told it was like my body image, like what I thought of myself, somehow always translated into my self worth. This is important for any, and especially women or girls that are watching, that, or even parents, that if you're doing it with your children, please don't, because they're very independent of each other. The way your body looks, the way whatever body you're born with, or whatever you're struggling with, or not struggling with, or working on, has got nothing to do with your self worth. The look, what you're putting in has got to do with your self worth for sure. But how you look has got nothing to do with your self worth. Now, I am a product of that, you know. And again, it's very important to specify here that I am in no way placing blame on my parents. They did not know better. What they were trying to do was that, you need to look a certain way. And why? Maybe for me, or maybe for their external validation, because, well, I was a very good kid at school, and I was good at everything, actually. That's also a bit of a curse, I feel sometimes, and the older kid. So all of those things for later. But imagine all of those things and being a little plump, so naturally your parents would want a certain amount of perfection, for the lack of a better word, that, okay, you know what, you're so good at all these things, so why don't you also lose weight? Maybe at that time, like, I'm 43, my parents are in their, well, close to 70. So you can imagine, in that generation there was not so much of understanding of how to communicate, especially with children, right? So that's why no blame there. But it did harm me, yeah, unintentionally. So what happened was, while growing up, and of course, your surroundings and your the people around you, they don't make life easier. So there were a lot of names given to me. So I was told stuff like, what a fatty, what a football, what a moti. For those of you who don't understand, is like, a fat kid. So, and then of course everything that comes with it, and you'll do this, that will happen, you'll sit here, that will break, you can't run, and all of that. That doesn't do much to a child's self-esteem. So I had a very low self-esteem. I'll be honest with you, my self-esteem has started to build only this year, and we'll get to that. So otherwise, for almost 42 years, I've suffered with very low self-esteem. Confidence is very high, because, see, remember, right, that achiever, very high achiever, I told you, from my childhood. So achieving, so what is that? That means that here's a goal, I achieve it, so my confidence goes high, but my self-esteem is low. When your self-esteem is low, you don't accept yourself the way you are, right? So note that right now. So imagine living 42 years of my life not accepting myself because of the way that I looked. And listen, this is a fact, I would say all women deal with this, and all girls do, which is why I'm trying to be as honest right now. Okay. So, anyway, so I started, I would exercise, diet, and obviously at that time, when I was a teenager, it would be crash dieting, just stop eating and all of that. Obviously, you lose weight, and that time you do pretty soon. Then I came into my teens, and puberty hit really, early, and my breast development was faster than the rest of my body. So I used to be called very funny names by the boys in my society. That adds on to it, because you're called so many things, like I can't even say it here. So that did not help. And then, you're struggling. So, and on one side you're super confident, on the other side there is self-esteem issues, and your body is somehow not being your friend. So oh man, it was messed up. My teenage was messed up, and therefore I made a lot of decisions that, well, today they still make me who I am, but funny decisions, funny things I've done in my teenage, which is okay. I mean, I'm glad I did those, and honestly super glad. Like, one day if I write a book, I mean, I'll have so many stories. But anyways, that's a little digression. Then I came into my 20s, again made some very funny decisions based on, it's not just based on this, but this is a major factor. That's the point. Understand, it's all related. Spirituality, your self esteem, your self confidence, support, how do you feel about your body, your health, all of them are so interconnected. So now I'm starting to kind of, I think, feel it, that, oh, that is what it is. I think I'm not growing up, I think I've taken birth now. Anyways, coming back to the point, in my 20s, again, I was all bloated up, and I didn't really care. I never used to exercise, and I would just like stop eating. I don't know. I mean, it was just so much of bullshit that was being fed, that, oh, if you want to lose weight, then you do these crash diets, and a little bit of walk is okay. I had no idea about fitness. Fitness and health was no term in my mind. It was just lose weight, lose weight, lose weight, and which I did a lot of times, and it would always keep coming back, which happens to all of us. It is then in 30s that I became a Zumba instructor. And for the first time, I went to a nutritionist, understood, okay, fine. But again, when I went to the nutritionist, I had no knowledge of my own. So I listened to her blindly. Thank God it was a good nutritionist, lost the weight. And because of being a Zumba instructor, a regular one for almost 9 years, I think, it helped me. It was plain cardio, and it helped keep the weight off, and very high stamina also. But the understanding of the body composition was still not as clear as it is today. And I know I'm still just learning. I'm just starting. Like, man, I'm going to I'm going to learn this so much. I'm so intrigued by this entire science. But so the whole of 30s went in that, where I looked after myself in terms of eating right, and maintaining the weight and doing that exercise. And for me, it was like, wow. It is when and this I've said in my previous video of the Vipassana one, the 650 days after Vipassana, I was a smoker all the time that I was doing Zumba. Okay. So it was, I think, 2.5 years ago that I quit smoking, and that's when I quit Zumba also. So then the weight came in, and then with the weight, now this is the most important bit. With the weight, also, it just coincided in 2019. I'll make another video on this, but I'm just saying it for this one. 2019 is when a very unseen trauma that I had experienced at a certain point in my life came to the surface. Okay, and then of course COVID happened. Then I quit smoking, I quit Zumba, and then I went into a certain sort of depression or emptiness. I would say emptiness. It was not really depression, anxiety, and emptiness. It was a very funny combination. But I was introduced to meditation also that year, 2019. Okay, so this is a point to note. I somehow felt, okay, this is something that can be done every day, which I used to, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And then time went on, and I was dealing with the trauma that resurfaced, and I was dealing with that. And then came this quitting smoking. So what that did was that it immediately made me gain weight, because your senses again start, forming nicely. So you start to eat more. I had stopped Zumba, so weight came and the trauma came. Very interesting. Okay. Now here's where it makes sense. Why am I making this video? For the spirituality bit. Trauma has a beautiful way of sticking to your body. And I know most of you would know this, but those who don't understand this. So those of you who are dealing with any sort of resistance to weight loss or fitness or getting healthier, please check, is there trauma that you're carrying? You know why? Because now, and I'll tell you, let me deconstruct it for you. In the past, I would say 1 year, of course, I made a resolution and, just went for it. But in the past 2 years, I've been on this journey of spirituality, right? So Vipassana is what I did, which I made a video on. Vipassana introduced to my demons. I did not stop there. Then I started, and by then, by the way, I had hit the gym, but the trauma was still sticking to me. You have to understand this. And I was like, what is this? Because the demons had come out. What are demons? Demons are unresolved past traumas, right? They were sticking. They were not letting it go. And I was fighting with them, but it didn't resolve them, like resolve the issues that I was facing. Then thankfully, because of the past 2-3 years of meditation, I realized, okay, you know what? They need to be figured out, like what the hell is happening. So then I decided to deal. to deal. So first I made a resolution this year. I was like, enough. I actually made a resolution. I have 4 diaries of mind, body, heart, soul. I was like, you know what, enough. These 4 things I'm going to deal with every day. Every day. Okay. So then I started, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to a nutritionist. Before that, I'll go to a physiotherapist. I'm going to get myself checked fully, understand who I am, and then go for it. Like deal with what's going on. So let's get rid of the fat. So the fat was sticking because of the trauma. And how the fat just disappeared, from 44% to 27.5% in 1 year. That may not be a very big deal for a lot of you, but believe me, for me it is, because some of it was just not going. I mean, I may have been even 1 kg or 2 kg lighter a few years ago, younger, but still had so much fat on. You're understanding? So it's a very big thing for me. And now decoding it, it's the trauma. So, till the time that you don't deal with the trauma and fix it, when you say fix, it's not like it's gone, you've shot it, it's evaporated. No, it is that you see it. You're like, oh, this is what is bothering me. Acha, how do I deal with it? Do I feel better dealing like this, or do I feel better dealing like that? When I say feel better, does not mean that you're like flying with wings in ecstasy. No, you deal. You feel better means you're at peace, that you can see it. So, today I see all the unresolved, yeah, thankfully, because I went through the inner child therapy that I've spoken about, and I dealt with most of my demons. And I also know that the ones that are lurking about, which are a little, I would say, shady, the smart ass ones, yeah, I swear, roaming around in cloaks and not revealing themselves. I still know that they're there. They're not sitting on my head. They're walking with me. And I'm like, okay, fine, maybe you're there, but when the time comes, I'll deal with you. But earlier, they were just sitting on me, on me, so then how do you react? So now that I've spoken to all of them, and a few of them are still lurking about at school, guys, like, chill, man, like, seriously, help yourselves to some food and snacks. So the point is, when you deal with all this and you're putting in that effort on your body, and not because you want to lose weight or be accepted, but you want to do it for yourself, for your fitness and for your health, because you suddenly realize that, oh man, I mean, I feel like I've taken birth. Now, for that, you need a healthy body. For that, you need a healthy mind. So, what do? You take care of your health for your mind and your body, and you do that relentlessly every day. And that is the form of self-love. That you just don't quit on yourself. You can't. You just can't. I mean, when you get into that zone, there is no way in hell that you're going to quit on yourself, because that's the end then. And the lies have stopped. So you're no longer doing it under any other pretext. Like before this, I used to be doing it for my parents long ago when I was in my teens. In my 30s, I was doing it to get accepted or to feel more attractive, maybe to my husband, that okay, he'll find me more attractive or something. But today, I'm doing it for myself. And that's it. Like, isn't that the end all? Like when you start doing it for yourself, then there is no bigger motivation, honestly speaking. It just is. You don't have to be pushed. You just do it. So a lot of you will relate with me, but those who are not being able to relate, I hope this helps somewhere, because they're all interconnected. Yeah, your spiritual health, your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health, your social health, all of it is related. And naturally, it's never linear. It's all like, like all like a whole mess of things, but get a hold of them. And once you do, then somehow everything starts to fall in place. And even if not at the pace that you would like them to, on their own pace, but in front of you. And that's a pretty cool place to be in. Then you at least know, okay, you have a choice. You're provided with choices. I hope I made some sense, and I hope somebody understood. And again, wish you all a very, very happy new year. And cheers. Bye bye.